My name is Rhoda, and I am 35 years old. I have lived a quiet life, the kind where you learn early that kindness is not weakness and helping people is the only thing that ever makes sense. My grandmother, Margaret Collins, taught me that. She was the kind of woman who could calm a crying child with a smile and soften even the angriest person with a gentle touch. Losing her broke something inside me. But nothing prepared me for what happened at her funeral. Let me start from the highest point of the story, the moment everything changed. It was only 1 hour into the funeral service. People were still settling down, whispering prayers, wiping their eyes. I was sitting in the front row, trying hard not to fall apart, when my phone buzzed quietly in my purse. I thought it might be my cousin checking in, but when I looked at the screen, my heart skipped. It was my grandmother's lawyer. I stepped outside to answer the call. His voice came through quickly, sharp and trembling. "Rhoda, I have discovered something concerning your grandmother. Try and come to my office right away. And don't tell anyone." I froze on the spot. "What? Sir, we're in the middle of the funeral." "Right away," he repeated. "This cannot wait." My hands shook. My stomach twisted. But something inside me, maybe fear, maybe instinct, pushed me to go. I slipped out of the funeral home quietly and drove straight to the lawyer's office. My heart beat faster with every mile. When I got there, I walked down the hallway, expecting to see him waiting for me. But instead, someone else was standing at the door. Someone I had not seen in years. And the moment my eyes landed on the person, my legs almost gave out. Almost collapsed. The air in the hallway felt thin, as if all the oxygen had been sucked out. My throat tightened, and for a second I wondered if I was dreaming or having a nightmare. I opened my mouth to speak, but nothing came out. What was this person doing here? Why now? And what did they have to do with my grandmother? Before I could think any further, the lawyer's office door clicked open behind us. And that is where the real story begins. Now let me take you back, way back, before my grandmother's funeral, before the phone call, before the shock, so you can understand who I am, who she was, and how everything came to this moment. But first, let me ask you the same question I always ask whenever I share this story. Where are you watching from? I love knowing where people around the world are listening. It makes this journey feel shared. Now let me introduce the characters you'll meet. My grandmother, Margaret, was the heart of our family. She lived in a small house in Ohio, with a big backyard full of roses she planted herself. Every Saturday morning, she baked cinnamon rolls, and the whole neighborhood could smell them before the sun even rose. She believed in kindness more than anything. "Rhoda," she always said, "if you can choose anything in the world, choose to be good. Goodness always comes back around." My mother, Linda, was strong but emotional. She tried to be tough, but her heart was always too soft. My father, Paul, was quieter. He didn't talk much, but he listened. My little brother, Ethan, was the cheerful one, always joking, always smiling. And then, there was the person at the lawyer's door. The one whose name I will not reveal yet. Not until the right moment. But trust me, you will understand why I nearly collapsed. Growing up, I spent most of my time with Grandma Margaret. She taught me how to cook, how to take care of people, how to love. She taught me that kindness is not a habit but a choice. Choice you make daily. She was inspiring. People came to her for advice, for comfort, for help. And she never turned anyone away. Not even strangers. She would say, "Empathy is free, Rhoda. Give it generously." And I tried. I really tried to live by that. But as I became older, life became heavier. My job, the bills, the stress. It felt like kindness turned into something fragile, like a candle flickering in a storm. Still, Grandma always reminded me who I was. Then last winter she fell ill. It was slow at first. Small cough. A bit of tiredness. But soon it grew into something worse. We spent nights in the hospital, holding her hands, praying she'd recover. But she didn't. One cold morning, the doctor stepped into the room with his sad eyes, and I knew. She was gone. Losing her felt like losing the sun. For weeks I moved like a ghost. The funeral came too fast. I wasn't ready. My mother cried. My father tried to be strong. Ethan held my hand the whole time. People filled the room. Neighbors, old friends, strangers she had helped through the years. There were stories, so many stories about how she touched their lives. I sat there listening, feeling proud and heartbroken at the same time. Then my phone rang. That was the moment everything started to shift. That single call from the lawyer. But before I reached his office, before the shock of who was standing there, life was still normal. Quiet. Simple. Sad but simple. The drive to his office was lonely. The sky was gray, and the roads were almost empty. I remember gripping the steering wheel, trying to calm my racing heart. Why would the lawyer call me? Why tell me not to tell anyone? What did he find? Had no answers. I only had fear. When I finally parked and walked inside, I felt something cold pass through my chest. A strange feeling. Like something big, something life-changing was waiting for me. And I was right. Because the moment I saw who was standing at the lawyer's door, my entire world shifted. This was someone connected to my past. Someone tied to a deep, painful part of my life. Someone I thought I would never see again. And yet, there they were, staring right at me. And now, we move into the next part of the story. But before we do, remember this. Not everything that looks like darkness is evil, and not everything that shines can be trusted. Life is full of hidden corners, and some secrets wait decades to be revealed. The next chapter will continue from the extreme moment, seeing the person at the lawyer's door. But for now, let's pause here. I stood there frozen in the hallway, staring at the person I never expected to see again. My heart thumped so loudly I could hear it echo inside my ears. For a moment, everything around me faded. The carpet under my feet, the buzzing fluorescent lights, even the distant chatter from the receptionist's desk. All I could see was them. The person at the lawyer's door was Michael, my childhood best friend, my almost brother, my biggest heartbreak, and the one person who vanished from my life without a single goodbye. Years ago, when I was in my early 20s, Michael and I were inseparable. He lived next door to my grandmother, and she practically helped raise him because his own parents were always away. Grandma loved him like family. Sometimes she even joked that he and I were a matched pair. We laughed at that, but in truth we cared deeply for each other. But then something happened, something big, something painful, and Michael disappeared. No number, no message, no explanation. And now, more than 10 years later, he was standing right in front of me. He looked older but familiar, taller with tired eyes, a short beard, and a face carrying secrets I didn't understand. When our eyes locked, a wave of emotions crashed over me. Shock, anger, sadness, confusion. "RHODA," he whispered. I swallowed hard, trying to find my voice. What are you doing here?" Before he could answer, the lawyer opened the office door wider. "Both of you come inside. We don't have much time. Both of us." The lawyer's tone made my heart sink deeper. I didn't know what was going on, but I knew it wasn't something small. Still shaken, I followed them into the office. It was a small room with tall bookshelves, a wooden desk, and a single lamp glowing on the left side. The air smelled like old paper and strong coffee, like something serious was about to happen. I sat down, gripping the sides of the chair. Michael stayed standing. He looked like he didn't know whether to sit or run away. The lawyer, Mr. Thompson, cleared his throat. His voice was steady, but his hands were shaking slightly. "RHODA," he said, "what I am about to tell you is part of a discovery your grandmother left behind, something she kept hidden for decades. I called you here because this concerns you directly. And as for Michael, he has a role in this as well." The room felt suddenly hotter. My voice came out small. "What did she hide?" Mr. Thompson opened a file, thick, worn, filled with papers clipped together. But he didn't show it to me. Instead, he looked straight into my eyes. "Before she passed," he said, "your grandmother left a sealed letter containing instructions. She wanted it opened only after her funeral began. She said it was important and urgent." My throat tightened. A letter. From Grandma. Hidden. Rhoda, he continued, your grandmother wasn't the woman you think you knew. There are things she did, things she protected that you must understand. But I can't explain it all at once. My heart dropped. Protect? From what? I leaned forward. Sir, what are you saying? But before he could answer, a loud noise came from the hallway, like someone slamming a door or tripping into a cabinet. We all jolted. Mr. Thompson stood up fast and moved toward the door, adjusting his glasses nervously. Michael took a step closer to me. You okay? He whispered. I stared at him, emotions swirling inside me. No, I'm not. But I didn't get to say more. Because suddenly the lawyer turned back toward us, locking the office door. His face was tight with worry. We don't have time, he said in a low voice. There are people who must not know you are here. Your grandmother feared this for years. It's happening faster than I thought. The room went silent. Cold fear crawled across my skin. People must not know. Why? He walked back to his desk and pulled out the sealed letter. The envelope was old, yellow, and fragile, like something hidden in a drawer for too long. My grandmother's handwriting was on the front. My breath caught. It was her. Her last words. But before the lawyer could open it, something unexpected happened. Something that shifted the entire tone of the room. The lights flickered, then went out. Instant darkness. I gasped and grabbed the edge of the table. Michael stepped closer, placing a hand on my shoulder to steady me. Stay calm, he said. The lawyer's voice filled the darkness. Don't move. Do not go near the window. My heart pounded harder. What's happening? Silence. Then the lights snapped back on. But the moment they did, Mr. Thompson's face turned pale. The envelope was no longer on the table. It was gone. Vanished. My entire chest tightened. Where is it? Where did it go? The lawyer ran a hand through his hair. Someone was here, he whispered. Someone took it. My pulse spiked. But we heard no one enter. Michael's jaw tightened. They didn't need to enter. They were already inside this building. That sentence made my stomach twist. Ooh, why? What did that letter contain that someone would steal it? Mr. Thompson paced back and forth. We have to find it. That letter was the key to everything she wanted Rhoda to know. I grabbed the arms of my chair, trying not to panic. Please, somebody explain what is going on. The lawyer stopped. And slowly, painfully, he said, Rhoda, your grandmother knew something dangerous. And she believed only you could finish what she started. Finish? Dangerous? Me? I stared at him, shaking my head. But I'm not, I don't understand. He opened his mouth, but then a loud banging erupted on the office door. 3 hard knocks. All 3 of us jumped. The lawyer's voice shook. They're here already. We have to move. Now. The banging grew louder. Michael grabbed my wrist. Rhoda, get up. I rose slowly, confusion and fear knotting inside my chest. Mr. Thompson whispered urgently. There's a back exit through my storage room. We must get out before. Another crash hit the door, harder this time. The wood splintered. Michael pulled me toward the back of the office. My legs trembled as the lawyer hurried ahead, trying to open the storage door. But just as he turned the handle, the office door finally gave way. Would crack. The lights flickered again. And a shadowy figure stepped inside. Dark. Unknown. My breath froze. This was no small problem. This was something my grandmother had feared. And now it had found me. The tall, dark figure stood in the doorway, blocking out the light from the hallway. My breath caught in my throat. I couldn't see the person's face. Only a black hood, black clothes, and the glint of something metallic at their side. My knees weakened. Michael pulled me slightly behind him, shielding me the way he used to when we were younger. The lawyer, Mr. Thompson, froze halfway to the storage door. His hand shook so badly he dropped the keys. They clattered loudly against the floor, echoing in the tense silence. The figure took one step inside. Then another. Low. Heavy. Purposeful. Rhoda Collins, the figure said, voice low, distorted, like they were using something to hide their real tone. Come with me. Now. My stomach twisted. How did they know my name? Michael stepped forward, blocking the figure's line of sight. You're not taking her anywhere. The figure tilted their head slightly, as if studying him. Move aside, Michael. My heart stopped. They knew his name too. Michael tensed. You don't tell me what to do. The figure ignored him and lifted their hand. Not a weapon, but something worse, something that made my blood run cold. Small envelope. Yellow. Fragile. My grandmother's letter. Gasp. Give that back. The figure's grip tightened. This letter belongs to the rightful heir. Not you. Rightful heir. What heir? What was Grandma involved in? Before I could ask anything, the figure tucked the envelope into their coat and took another step forward. Michael's jaw clenched. He grabbed a metal paperweight from the lawyer's desk, shaped like a globe, and held it like a weapon. Try me, Michael warned. Everything happened at once. The figure lunged forward. Michael swung the globe. He screamed. The lawyer rushed toward the storage door. The lights flickered again. And then the whole room plunged into chaos. The figure grabbed Michael by the arm and shoved him aside. Michael hit the corner of the desk, groaning in pain. I moved toward him on instinct, but the figure stepped between us and reached for me. I stumbled back, hitting the shelf behind me. Books rattled and fell. My heart beat so fast I thought it would burst through my ribs. The gloved hand reached for my wrist. And then, suddenly, Mr. Thompson shoved a heavy file cabinet against the figure's back with all his strength. The cabinet slammed into them with a loud crash. Run! The lawyer yelled. Both of you go. Now! The moment the figure stumbled forward, Michael grabbed my hand and pulled me toward the storage door. We dashed across the room. Mr. Thompson fumbled with the keys again, his hands trembling. But the figure recovered faster than any normal person should. They pushed the cabinet aside like it weighed nothing. Their heads snapped toward us. They sprinted. Mr. Thompson. Hurry! Cried. The lawyer finally unlocked the door. Michael yanked me inside first, then shoved the door shut behind us. We heard the figure crash into it from the other side. The storage room was small, dark, crowded with old boxes and shelves. Michael grabbed my hand tightly, guiding me through the maze of clutter as the lawyer locked the inner door. But I could hear the figure pounding on it, harder and harder. We have maybe 30 seconds before they get through, Mr. Thompson said breathlessly. The back exit is to the left. We rushed through the darkness, pushing past stacked files and dusty furniture. My heart pounded in my ears. The lawyer fumbled against the wall to find the exit door. My hands shook so badly I could barely think. Michael kept looking behind us, ready for anything. Just as the lawyer found the handle, the pounding on the inner door stopped. The silence that followed was worse. Much worse, Michael whispered. They're not breaking it anymore. I swallowed. Why did they stop? No one answered. Blick. The inner storage door's lock unlocked. On its own. Michael's eyes widened. Go now. Mr. Thompson pushed the exit door open, and cold air rushed into the cramped room. I dashed outside, Michael right behind me. The lawyer followed. But he didn't make it far. Because the moment all three of us stepped into the narrow alley behind the building, something huge slammed into the lawyer from behind. He fell hard to the ground. Mr. Thompson, cried. Michael pulled me back. RHODA, don't. I watched helplessly as the dark figure, faster than before, snatched the lawyer by his collar and dragged him back toward the storage door. No. Please don't hurt him. I screamed. The figure didn't respond. They threw the lawyer inside the building and shut the door behind them. The lock clicked again. Silence. My chest tightened. Tears burned my eyes. We have to help him. Michael grabbed my shoulders. RHODA, listen to me. Whoever that is, they're not after him. They're after you. And if we go back in, we walk into their trap. I shook my head desperately. But they have the letter. They have Grandma's letter. Michael looked at me with something like pain in his eyes. And they want you even more. We have to move. But we leave. Now. His tone was firm, stronger than I had ever heard from him. My knees trembled, my breath shaky, but I nodded. We started running through the alleyway. I looked over my shoulder again and again, expecting the figure to reappear, but the door stayed closed. We burst out onto the main street. Cars rushed by. People walked normally, unaware that my whole world had tilted on its axis. My grandmother had secrets. Someone was willing to break into a lawyer's office to get them. And somehow I was at the center of it all. Felt dizzy. Michael guided me to a quiet corner and helped me sit on a low stone step. He crouched in front of me. "Rhoda, breathe," he said softly. But I couldn't breathe. My grandmother, kind, gentle, warm-hearted Grandma Margaret, had hidden something dangerous enough that strangers were chasing her letter. Why? What was she protecting me from? Or, what was she protecting for me? My voice cracked. "Michael, what do you know about this?" His face tightened. His eyes flickered with guilt, real guilt. He looked away. "I can't tell you yet," he said quietly. "Not until I'm sure we're safe." That sentence hit me like a punch. "You know something," I whispered. He swallowed hard. "Yes. Something about my grandmother." He nodded. "And you didn't tell me." He closed his eyes for a moment. "I promised her, Rhoda." My world stopped again. "You spoke to her?" "Yes. Recently. Before she died." Michael didn't look away this time. "Yes." My heart felt like it dropped to the ground. Before I could ask a single question, a loud screeching sound echoed from the alley behind us, like someone dragging metal against pavement. Michael's body tensed. He pulled me up. "They found us." I turned toward the sound, fear gripping every part of me. That's when I saw it. A shadow moving fast across the wall. Growing larger. Closer. Coming straight toward us. Another extreme event had begun. The shadow rushed toward us, stretching long across the brick wall like a dark wave swallowing everything in its path. My breath caught. My heartbeat slammed inside my ears. Michael grabbed my hand and pulled me forward. "Run!" he shouted. We sprinted down the sidewalk, weaving through people who stared at us with confusion. Cars honked. Someone yelled as we bumped past. But I didn't dare look back. The sound behind us grew louder, quick, heavy footsteps echoing against the pavement. The same dark figure. They found us. Again. We turned sharply into another alley, this one narrower and cluttered with trash bins. Michael squeezed my hand tighter. "Keep going, Rhoda." "I'm trying," I gasped, barely keeping my balance. The figure was gaining. I could feel it. The quick thuds in the ground, the scrape of boots, the breathless hunger of someone determined to catch me. As we burst out of the alley, Michael spotted a pedestrian bridge leading over a small park. "This way." We raced up the bridge steps two at a time. My legs burned, my lungs ached, but fear pushed me forward. When we reached the top of the bridge, Michael stopped suddenly and turned around, forcing me behind him. The figure stepped onto the bridge, blocking the exit behind us. Wind blew their hood slightly, revealing nothing but a black mask beneath. The sight made my stomach twist painfully. "Enough running," the figure said, voice distorted again. "Rhoda, you need to come with me." "No." My voice echoed across the bridge, desperate and shaky. "Why are you doing this? What do you want from me?" The figure didn't answer. Instead, they took one slow step forward. Michael raised his fists. "You're not touching her." The figure reached into their coat and pulled out something I didn't expect, a small silver badge. They held it up just long enough for us to see the emblem, then tucked it away again. It wasn't a weapon. It was a symbol, a government seal. Federal. My knees went weak. "Are you law enforcement?" The figure didn't deny it. "Rhoda," the voice said calmly, "your grandmother was not who you thought she was. She was involved with classified operations. That letter contains information that should never come to light." My mouth fell open. Classified. My grandmother. She was a retired school librarian. Michael's jaw clenched. Rhoda, don't believe everything you hear. The figure ignored him. Hand yourself over. Now. Michael stepped forward. Over my dead body. The figure sighed, almost like they were annoyed, and reached into their coat again. Michael braced for a weapon. So did I. But instead, the figure pulled out a small black device and pressed a button. Suddenly, a deafening alarm blasted across the bridge. A high-pitched, vibrating sound that made my eardrums scream. It covered my ears, crying out. Michael stumbled, dropping to one knee. The world spun. My head throbbed. The figure took advantage of the moment, rushing toward me. I tried to stand, but my legs felt like rubber. I grabbed the railing to keep myself upright. In seconds, the figure was right in front of me. Their hand reached for my wrist. But Michael, fighting through the pain, lunged at them from the side. He tackled the figure so hard they crashed against the railing. The device flew from their hand and skidded across the bridge floor. The alarm cut instantly. Gasped for air. Michael and the figure struggled violently, each trying to overpower the other. Michael threw a punch. The figure dodged and slammed him into the railing. Michael grunted but didn't stop. He grabbed the figure's hood and yanked it back. For the first time, a sliver of their face showed. A scar. Sharp eyes. Someone dangerous. The figure shoved Michael away and turned toward me again. Enough, they growled. They reached for me. And that moment my fear turned into something else, anger. I grabbed the dropped alarm device and swung it with all my strength. It hit the figure's shoulder with a loud crack. Keep your hands off me, shouted. The figure stumbled back, stunned. Michael saw the opening and kicked their leg. The figure fell hard onto the bridge, rolling once before catching themselves on the railing. Run, Rhoda, Michael yelled. Go. I hesitated. But you. Go. Tears blurred my vision as I turned and sprinted down the other side of the bridge. Footsteps thundered behind me, Michael catching up. The figure didn't follow immediately. They were stunned, maybe injured. But not for long. When we reached the bottom of the bridge steps, Michael grabbed my shoulders. We need somewhere safe. Somewhere they won't look. I don't know where to go. He looked around, thinking fast. Then he grabbed my hand again. Come on. I know a place. We ran across the park, crossing a small road that led to the quieter part of town. My breath remained shaky, and sweat ran down my back, but I didn't stop. Michael led me through blocks of old buildings, down a narrow street, and finally to a small hardware store with a faded sign. He unlocked the back door with a key I didn't even know he had. Inside it was dim and dusty, filled with shelves of tools and boxes. Whose place is this? Yes. My uncle's. He moved years ago. No one knows I still have access. We stepped inside. Michael closed the door quietly and locked it. I leaned against a wooden shelf, trying to stop my hands from shaking. For a moment neither of us spoke. The silence felt heavy. Too heavy. Then finally I whispered, Michael, what did she tell you? My grandmother. What did she say before she died? Michael's eyes softened with something I couldn't read. Rhoda. She told me to protect you. No matter what. My heart clenched. Protect me from what? He hesitated. From the truth. A chill ripped through me. The truth about what? I asked again. My voice was barely a whisper. Michael took a deep breath. But before he could answer, the hardware store's front door creaked. Very slowly, very quietly. My eyes widened. Michael, someone's here. He grabbed my hand, pulling me deeper into the back room. Stay quiet. We crouched behind a tall shelf, listening. Footsteps echoed inside the store. Careful. Searching. Michael mouthed silently. It's them. My pulse hammered. The footsteps came closer. A shadow passed near the shelf we hid behind. I covered my mouth, holding my breath. The shadow paused. A loud crash shook the entire room. Boxes fell. Tools clattered to the floor. The intruder wasn't searching anymore. They were tearing the place apart, looking for us. Michael leaned close, whispering so softly I barely heard him. "Rhoda, we need to run again." My voice trembled. "Where?" He looked at the back wall. "There's a hidden door. My uncle built it. We can escape through the alley." He squeezed my hand. But then, a voice echoed through the store. "Rhoda, I know you're here." The figure's voice, cold, steady, too close. They added one more sentence, one that froze my blood. "Your grandmother lied to you. She lied to everyone. And if you want the truth, you'll have to come with me." Michael tightened his grip on my hand. "Don't listen," he whispered. Not for a second. But the figure wasn't done. Their voice grew darker, more haunting. "She didn't just leave you a secret. She left you a burden. And if you don't learn what it is soon, someone else will." I swallowed hard. Fear crawled across my skin. 'Cause deep inside, I knew they weren't lying. Another extreme moment had arrived. And this time it was worse than all the others. The voice echoed through the dim hardware store, crawling into every corner like cold air slipping under a door. Michael and I stayed frozen behind the shelf, our hands locked together. My heart felt like it was beating inside my throat. The figure wasn't shouting anymore. They didn't need to. Their voice carried a terrible calmness that felt louder than any scream. "Rhoda," the figure said again, slow and certain, "your grandmother didn't die with her secrets. She passed them to you. And people will come, more dangerous people than me. If you don't face the truth soon, you will lose much more than a letter." Michael leaned closer and whispered, "He's trying to break you. Don't listen." But the figure's words had already sunk deep into my chest like heavy stones. Before I could respond, something crashed on the far side of the store, wood splintering, metal clanging, shelves tipping over. The intruder was moving fast, tearing the place apart. Dust floated in the air. The shelves around us trembled. I clutched Michael's arm. He whispered, "We need to get to the hidden door while he's distracted." I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. Michael guided me slowly along the row of shelves. Every step felt like walking on cracking ice. The footsteps of the intruder grew louder, then softer, then loud again, like they were circling, searching, hunting. We ducked behind a tall cabinet. Michael gently pushed aside a stack of toolboxes. Behind them was a wooden panel with a small iron ring fixed near the floor. "That's the door," he whispered. My hands trembled as I reached toward it. I looped my fingers around the cold metal ring and pulled. It wouldn't budge. Michael took over, tugging harder. The footsteps grew closer. "We don't have time," I whispered. Michael pulled again, harder this time. The wood groaned. A crack opened at the edge of the panel, just wide enough to slip through. "Go," he whispered. I crouched down, squeezed myself through the opening, and slid into the narrow passage behind the wall. It was dark, dusty, and barely wide enough for one person. My shoulders scraped the sides. Michael started to follow. But before he could get inside, a voice thundered through the store. "Stop!" The figure. The footsteps broke into a sprint. Michael's eyes widened. "Rhoda, run!" I reached out and grabbed his sleeve. "Michael, hurry!" He shoved me deeper into the passage. "Go. Don't stop." Then he yanked the panel shut from the outside. "No, Michael!" I cried, pounding on the wood. I could hear him from the other side. The sound of his feet pivoting. Heavy thud. Another crashing noise. A muffled cry. Then chaos. It was happening so fast I couldn't process it. My fingers clawed at the panel, tears streaming down my face. "Michael! Michael!" But the intruder's voice rose above everything. Terrifying. "Rhoda, keep moving. Or he gets hurt worse." My breath stopped. I pressed both hands to my mouth, fighting a sob. The figure knew I cared. They knew Michael mattered to me. They were using that, pressing it like a knife. I choked out, "What do you want from me? Why are you doing this?" Their voice answered clearly through the thin wood. To protect you from the truth. That didn't feel like protection. It felt like a threat wrapped in mystery. I backed away from the panel, trembling. Dust swirled around me in the dark passage. My heart was hammering so hard I could barely breathe. I wanted to go back for Michael. I wanted to tear down the wall. But I also knew he was right. If I stayed, if I hesitated, if I got caught, everything would get worse. The figure knew too much. And they weren't the only ones. My grandmother's secrets had teeth. They could hurt people. They already had. I wiped my face, gathered every shred of courage inside me, and whispered through the panel, "Michael, hold on. I'll come back for you. I promise." Then I forced myself to move. The narrow passage stretched on in darkness, a long tunnel leading who knows where. I ran, stumbling over roots and debris, until the space widened into a small wooden room with a single exit door. I shoved the door open and stumbled into an alley behind the hardware store. The cold air slapped my face. My legs wobbled from fear and exhaustion. But I kept moving, forcing myself forward. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know who to trust. I didn't know what Grandma hid. But I knew one thing. Whoever wanted that letter would not stop until they got it. And they thought I had it. I pushed myself onto the sidewalk, blending with the crowd. My thoughts raced. Grandma had trusted Michael. But she trusted me most. Enough to leave me something people would chase. Something people would fight over. Something people would steal and even hurt others to find. What was it? What did she leave behind? Why did she keep it from everyone except her lawyer? Why did Michael know something? As I walked quickly toward the busier part of town, trying not to be noticed, a memory hit me like a sudden flash of lightning. Something Grandma said weeks before she died, when her voice was weak and her eyes were sad. "Rhoda," she whispered, "if anything ever happens to me, listen carefully. Some truths are heavy, but they belong to you. One day you'll know why." At the time I thought she meant old family stories. Childhood memories. Maybe regrets. But now I knew it was something far bigger. Something dangerous. Something that made strangers break into offices, chase me across town, and corner me in stores. A secret that started with my grandmother, and now lived inside me. As I turned onto the next street, catching my breath, my phone vibrated suddenly. My heart nearly jumped out of my chest. With shaking hands, I pulled it from my pocket. One new text message. Unknown number. I hesitated before tapping it open. The message read, "Rhoda, if you want to save Michael, come alone. Midnight. Columbus Bridge." My whole body turned cold. My fingers went numb. Michael. They had him. And they wanted me. Another message came immediately after. "And Rhoda, bring what your grandmother left you." I stared at the screen, frozen. What Grandma left me. But I didn't have anything. The letter was stolen. Unless Grandma left something else. Something hidden. Something I hadn't found yet. Something much more important than a letter. The thought shook me. What if the letter wasn't the secret? What if it was only the first clue? I slowly lowered my phone, the weight of everything crashing down on me. The truth. The danger. The message. Michael. Midnight. This was bigger than I imagined. And I wasn't ready. But ready or not, I had no choice. I stepped into the evening crowd, heart pounding, mind reeling. Because the final chapter of the truth my grandmother kept was about to begin. Hope you enjoy the story. Please like and subscribe to my channel.